settings of the music and the words that are just slightly different because they're all trying to match, I assume, with these voices or something.
That's easy. Just the words. Well, I guess you're just not as old as I am.
That's what Sandy said this. In Sandy's description. Yeah, she mentions her description of it also, you kind of caught this as I was playing, but she said it's flowing. And you hear me sometimes break the chords a little more, and I'll do that more once we're more. I was clunking a little bit to get us.
It's funny because when you were saying, you know, you might not know this song, and I was thinking, I've done this since I was a little girl.
I haven't, you know, it's funny, I have weird holes in my knowledge of things. Certain things that are obscure I know. This one,
Not passionate, didn't know that.
yeah.
But it's been pretty passionate.
Well, definitely, yes, definitely. It wasn't that Missouri thing, it's a Bethlehem thing, right?
Well, let's hear it. Good, I'm glad. It's nice we brought it back. I was going to say, you never know, too. You do some of these unfamiliar ones. So, why don't we look at 470? And this one, we are only going to sing, ironically, even though we have 67,000 verses there, we're just going to sing one. We're only going to sing on the first verse. The reason is we're going to go through the harmony today and at least try to get familiar with it, give everybody a chance to hear their parts sort of in isolation. So let's just once through sing, and if you know your part, sing it. If not, just sort of listen along and then break down the parts.
Neighbor, you tenor? Amen.
Good start for it. That sounds really good. Have a seat. Let's take a quick look at. We praise you and acknowledge you. The big notes for this one. We have some big booming basses who can sing super low notes. I don't know, this might go below even your guys. Basses, let's start here, pretty soon. Basically,
I can see the vocal cords right.
I got that subwoofer thing you have in the walls are shaking a little. If you have an issue singing it or don't feel comfortable or you end up with a cold, basically you either sing exactly what the tenor's singing or what the tenors have one octave below, and it all kind of comes out in the wash and it'll be fine. So just keep that in mind, but I won't go through the specific notes right now, but it goes extremely low. Let's just try to sing through it doing our parts, then we can break it down a little bit. It's just to hear the parts in isolation. So